Hey, I'm Maria back with another video. It's Sunday morning, 8:31, and I just got up and I am starting my day here. So today is going to be a day where I'm going to finally complete my art project, which it took me a while to work on it, but it's almost done. And it was a lot of sewing by hand is what I did, and I'm actually quite pleased with the way this project came out. So anyway, that's going to be my day, watching movies, finishing my art project, and doing some light housekeeping. So I was thinking last night about how, some of the issues in this town was basically people holding my marital status against me. I will say that, I feel as though, I've completely forgotten about my relationship with that particular family. Like I said, I never really knew his family, and not really. I think the town knew more about the reputation of that family than I did. Okay, I was completely oblivious to a lot of it until I would say close to the very end. But I will say that I don't look at my marital status as something that was sacred. It wasn't. I think a lot of people look at more of the legalities of marriage than really what the marriage is supposed to be about. Ideally, you want to be in a relationship, a marriage, I guess, where, love and devotion is the main focus of it. In my opinion, I do hold relationships like that. They should be considered to be, upstanding, I guess is what you should say. I should say. But the thing is that, understanding what went on in that family. Obviously, there was a lifestyle that I didn't approve of, and I can't take responsibility for that. Now, some people will say, well, you lied to your husband many years ago. Well, yeah, I did. But then, obviously, that was a lifestyle going on in that family that I didn't know about, okay? So if you look at it, we were both kind of not really upfront and honest with each other from the very beginning. So, and I also would say that considering what was going on in that family, it's far worse than anything I ever did. So I would also like to add that the only way a person could see it any other way is because racism is basically motivating them to see it that way. Okay, I met him back in 2001, so that was almost 17. That was 17 years ago. And starting, I believe, in September, I met him sometime in September or August, something like that. So that was years ago. So if that's the only thing somebody can say about me, that is grasping for straws. And that, to me, is nothing more than 100% pure racism, is what is motivating a person to actually hang on to something like that, because it's so old that, I certainly forgot all about it. And like I said, if somebody wants to hate you, that's the only thing that they can bring up. It's grasping for straws, okay? I do believe that marriage, the way most people look at it, it has basically been reduced down to a piece of paper. And it is, in my opinion, okay? Marriage, in my mind, or a relationship or whatever, is based on love, devotion, faithfulness, those sort of things. That is what makes up a marriage, okay? Now, had somebody told me or given me a clue, in the beginning as to what was going on in that family, then I would have basically walked away right then and there, which I had walked away before many times. But there were more reasons based on, the behavior of my soon-to-be ex-husband, which I was completely justified in doing that. So I have nothing to feel guilty about at all, And I would love for somebody to try to contest that, because if they do, what's motivating to do so. So it's bullshit. So anyway, I was thinking about that today. Also, I was also thinking about how people, who I've encountered, who are basically, calling me in job interviews and harassing me for reasons that are beyond my control. There's no reason to harass me. I would love for somebody to try to explain or justify why they do what they do, but there is no justification of it other than being an asshole, basically. I also want to talk about nervous response or feelings of guilt and how it makes a person behave. And I refer to this behavior as nervous response, meaning that they don't know how to basically be caught in a lie, or they don't know how to deal with the fact that I'm right, and they are basically pigeonholed or pinholed into not being able to defend themselves because they have nothing to say to ever be able to, rectify what they've done or what they did. I know that I was talking to a certain CPA a few years ago, maybe it was a few years ago, whatever, okay? And so when people are in the wrong, generally they like to try to either threaten you or block you, prevent you from talking, or something along those lines. I would like to say that in my situation, that I'm the one who has to deal with the consequences of the foolish behavior of other people, okay? That's not my problem, okay? I was basically living my life here in this town, minding my own damn business, and weird shit descended upon me, and then I'm the one who basically has to suffer for it, okay? And so instead of people just manning up or saying, you know what, I'm responsible for this and I'm taking responsibility and being right, equal, and fair about it, they try to dodge the responsibility or try to shuck the blame on somebody else. That's bullshit, okay? That's why you get people who, like the CPA, who basically said, oh, I'm going to sue you, when in fact I have every right to sue him. That is what I refer to nervous response, because they are so irresponsible with their actions and their behavior that they are basically resorting to like childlike behavior, which in fact is exactly what that is, okay? So I don't feel any guilt. I don't feel any shame at all, you know what I mean? If anything, the shame and the blame goes to the people who initiated this entire process. I would also like to say that, when it comes into terms of relationships, like, for example, I do believe at one time my family, my blood relations, were in charge of my employment. And I think also Joel's family was also in charge of my employment. And see, what you're doing basically in a situation like that, you are handing or you're basically putting a person's relationship, whether that be a blood relationship or a married relationship or whatever, you're putting it into the hands of kind of like the state, where it's nobody's business. For example, if Joel's family was manipulating my employment, now this is just an example, and for reasons like, well, for example, he just wanted to have control over me or whatever, you're involving yourself in a relationship that doesn't concern you. It's none of your business. You know what I mean? That's not the reason why you hire somebody. You hire somebody because they have the right skills or whatever. My issues, I'm completely innocent in all of it, 100%. And I can basically walk outside with my head held high. Okay? Now, when I go outside, I don't feel embarrassed or ashamed or anything. I don't. As a matter of fact, I feel completely proud of myself, and I should be proud of myself, because I don't get swayed by bullshit. This is petty bullshit, okay? I will say that my mood does get pissy sometimes because, I'm basically suffering for the errors of other people, and that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit, and that creates a lot of anger inside of me, because all this shit was going on, and I had absolutely no idea, none whatsoever. I don't use the name Graham only because I only use Graham when it relates to like banking transactions, because until my name is completely finalized, meaning the divorce is finalized, then I can legally switch my name back to Gordon. But I don't consider myself married. I don't. Okay? And obviously, I have a right to present myself as any way I want to. There is no legal binding in any state. I don't believe in any state that says, at least here in California, that says that I have to have a name Graham or anything like that. I don't. You know what I mean? My name is Maria Gordon, you know, and that's the way it's going to be. When I'm wrong, I can say I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I could say it. You know what I mean? And so when I look at people like the CPA and other people who don't want to hear it, or they try to prevent you from saying it, the issue lays on them, not me. You know what I mean? I have every right to speak my mind, especially if my life has been affected in a certain situation that I had nothing to do with. And because you speak out, then they somehow want to punish you, you know, for basically saying what you have every right to say. Think about it, you know? So I'm dealing with people who can be a little immature, or I would even say kind of selfish on some level. Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. So anyway, yeah, you know, I have a lot to say about how, you know, people are, and the ideas that are rolling around in their head, and these false beliefs that these people have. You know, I am proud of who I am. I am, and I like the way that I live. I like my views, because my views are right, okay? They are, okay? Whereas other people who got involved in this, their views are based on gossip and just some sort of bullshit that they like to imagine in their mind, to think that they have something that's better than what I am, and I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm better than they are, but I will say that I don't resort to the little shenanigans that they do, okay? Nor will I ever. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish this video up. I'm going to finish my art project and watch a few movies, and then, you know, take care of my house. But it's going to be a pretty relaxed Sunday. Trying to rest up. I didn't go to bed till I think after midnight. You know, I was like kind of irritated last night, because it was like, you know, so much of this errors, okay? These errors, this bullshit, you know, that gets created by other people, and somehow I end up affected by it, okay? And yet nobody wants to take responsibility for it. And so who ends up getting the short end of the stick? I do, okay? I'm the one who's suffering. Nobody else seems to ever want to take responsibility for what they do, you know? And that's where I get irritated. That's where I get frustrated, okay? In reality, these people should be sued, every single last one of them, from every single last employer that I worked for. And that's the way it should be, you know what I mean? So I have every right to speak my mind. I have every right to say what I'm feeling, okay? And people who want to sit here and try to ignore it, or try to block you, or try to sit here and, like, come up with some bullshit to try to threaten you and say, oh, I'm going to sue you, you have no right to behave that way. Think about it. Wrap up this video. Be back with another one later. Bye-bye.